After this broad overview, I will not spend much time. I would like to say, however, that what we face here is a combination of a wider vision of what the G20 is to achieve, combined with concrete, implementable proposals that we need to bring forward. And the T20 is going to try to play a very useful role in this regard. So with regard to the wider agenda, I think for some time the G20 countries have understood that it is not sufficient for the G20 to focus exclusively on the traditional topics of financial stability and growth, and that a wider set of issues, including the environment, including the planetary boundaries we're in, that has become a global norm, basically, in our understanding of what the G20 does. But what the German presidency will introduce, and we will hear in detail what the presidency has in mind from Professor Röller, is the idea that social responsibility is intimately connected with these other challenges. We see in the American election, we see in the Brexit vote, how close the connection between social responsibility and economic development is. And the connection between environmental responsibility and social responsibility will unfold in the coming years. And in addition, this idea of resilience, that we want the economy, we want society, and we want the environment to be resilient in the face of unexpected, truly unexpected shocks. That is terribly important. And so what we need to keep in mind in terms of the broader vision, if I've understood it rightly, is that we have four interconnected components, and the T20 needs to look not only at the components but at the interconnection. On the one hand, we've got the economic challenges. How in this economically integrated but socially and politically fragmented world we can promote globalization, spread the benefits of globalization, and so on. Those are a set of economic challenges that require economic cooperation across G20 and other countries. Then there is the social challenge, how to overcome social fragmentation. Without overcoming social fragmentation, it's difficult to have economic prosperity. Countries that are socially fragmented don't do well economically. The world, if it's socially fragmented, will not thrive either. So nationalism, mistrust of strangers, and so on, is poison for the economy as well as for society. And the G20 stands for pluralism. Pluralism in three main respects, in the sense of tolerance for other views, and that came out very strongly in the film at the opening of the G20 yesterday evening, where the idea that you had all these different people saying, I am German, and the idea that we stand for pluralism of culture and opinions, that is an idea that must carry the day if the global economy is to succeed. And this has to go beyond tolerance. It has to embody respect and probably also care, actual compassion for those who are very different from us. And that social project is something that the G20 also will have to keep in its sights. And then there are the well-known, the third challenge, aside from the economic and social, is the environmental. We know all about this: climate change, biodiversity loss, pollution, etc., etc. Economic success cannot simply be built on transforming natural capital. We need to move toward the direction of a circular economy, sustainable environment. And then there is the political challenge, which is how do we produce political outcomes that address the public fear of economic insecurity, of inequality, of disempowerment, of loss of identity in view of migration and refugees. Those are the big political challenges that are intimately connected with the three challenges before. And sort of one last word, and that is a personal note. One cross-cutting issue, which is of importance, I understand, to the German government, is the issue of digitization. We are coming into a new digital age, and I personally belong to those who believe that in our lifetimes, that even, I hope, includes ancient people like me, machines will be doing not only routine work, but they will, as time goes on, simply do predictable work. And then the question arises, what happens to the people who are doing predictable work now? And that has huge implications. There probably will be a reshoring of manufacturing, but that reshoring will not bring growth and jobs. And that already is leading to an important sense of disempowerment that gives rise to political movements, populist movements around the world. And we have two classes that are rising: the disempowered and the cloistered, those who benefit from these new digital technologies, who are okay regardless of the shocks that the world faces. And that, if these two groups continue to rise, will produce both social fragmentation and an unwillingness to deal with this social fragmentation. That's a really difficult problem. And in order for us to overcome that, we will probably have to think much more deeply than before on how states can become empowering. This embodies not only active labor market policies and lifelong learning, but we will need to think carefully about how to teach creativity and interpersonal skills in combination with the standard skills in our education and training programs, and so on and so forth. These are thoughts I'd like to leave you with, but if now for the actual beef, I'd like to, great pleasure and honor that Professor Röller is here to address us today, and his keynote will provide a centerpiece for our deliberations today and in ongoing in our policy briefs and the entire T20 process. Thank you very much.